So right after my last video, I was just using my tap and started squirting water out the side, and I think the problem has to do with this thing here. This here would go on the bottom, this piece. And I think it broke right here, and this somehow is a barrier from the water getting out the bottom, and since it broke, it's spraying out this little crack here. It's like a little crack. So I'm going to put it back. I found a piece from the hardware store that was kind of similar, but isn't exactly the same shape. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do something or how it's going to work exactly. So we'll see what I can do. I mean, I can maybe cut it in one direction because it's a little bit too thick, but cutting it in both directions is going to be kind of pretty hard to do. So I don't know what my odds are right now. I know that when I was at it, my my cartridge, Moen cartridge here, was getting old, and these Moen cartridges, it was getting old and was like, they start dripping all the time. So this new one, I put it in, but I think there's like a 50-50 chance putting it in the way that hot's hot and the cold's cold. This doesn't really matter because it's up to me to know which side's which anyway. You can just learn it backwards. There's nothing actually saying which side was which side here. Yeah, so all my little valve things here and there, they don't really totally turn off the water anymore, and I've got some seals. I don't feel like taking them apart, putting seals in, and maybe I can get something working, but I had to turn these off, and I had to replace these like a little while ago because they seized for some reason, and the original ones the builders put in seized, and I had this really good guy come and do it, and it was really hard because they put the building together in a bizarre way with different materials, and anyway, yeah, these new ones, they work pretty good. And I was stuck for like, it was around Christmas time, they had bad storms, and I was stuck for like 5 days or a week with just using like totally hot water, and just like it freaked the hell out of me. So I've been trying to figure out if I should like just replace this whole thing or not, but so far I spent like $250 or something, so that's pretty good, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm thinking there's probably, there's some flexible copper tubing, semi-flexible, it's kind of rigid, and that hooks in under here. So if I unscrewed that, I got a new one for maybe $50, and then screwed the pressure connections back in again, and it'd probably be okay if it had the same diameter tubing. So I'm not beyond doing that, but I'll just try this just for now. Okay, so mostly what's gone wrong is this part here is what's gone wrong is this part here. It broke, right? So the water comes out here. This is the thing that holds the water in this thing here. Now the trouble is, when I had this, it doesn't have any outer lip, and there's nothing that keeps it from going into there. And without going into there, the water's going to get out. So I went back and I got another piece, and it was too big, and the inside was too big. So here's a piece that isn't really exactly what you'd want, but kind of fits in here, right? And maybe with a lot of pressure, I could convince it to go in, but it's a little bit too big. I can maybe try to sand the edge, and maybe it would go in a little bit better if I could just sand off a little bit, and that could be a viable strategy. I could almost see this working that way. But there's a bit of a bevel here, so what happens? I saw online that something like this fit all brands, and thought, oh well, I saw something like that at the store, so I should go over and get it. So I'll try this, and if it doesn't work, I'll go to Canadian Tire. Yeah, so I modded a part here, and I'm trying to keep the thickness all the same, but it has to be about the same thickness as this one here if it's going to have this that rubber thing go on top of it, and I would have liked to have seen that. I bought the part, I only get so many chances to get it right. There you have the two pieces together, and there is some hope for that. As long as the top, when it comes down, it's not going to come out weird geometries. I can almost see that working. So the more I look at this, I'm not thinking that part's broken, this part here, because I don't see how they could have put it on originally. So what I think happened was this bevel here, the bevel is supposed to, well, I'm not sure. I guess it's just the friction is supposed to keep this ring on here. Somehow it got defeated, so the ring must have come up. And I guess this is the friction, the outside, the force from the outside the force from this ring here is supposed to keep that that seal and that on. So I'm thinking right now that I've got everything I need to fix it. I've wasted maybe $5 experimenting with parts that I couldn't get working. But I think this one's too big. This other part here is really too big to do what I wanted. It kind of works. It would kind of maybe work. Okay, so we have it all cleaned off here. Yeah, I think I found the problem is that there's actually a little white piece that actually fits into the piece under it here, and you have to have it rotated the right way so it'll fit in one of two possible positions. But last time I did that, I don't think I put this together properly. Maybe I just never put it back together properly in the first place. The last time I changed this Moen cartridge. But it's a good thing I put it in because it goes in two ways. I put it in the way that I think you need in order for it to work. So I guess that's good because I can't get it apart now. So let's turn the water on and whoops, this down. And here we go. Okay, so both waters are connected now. Something should connect. So I can turn the valves in the bottom aren't open all the way out. So let's be very careful. It's a little concerning because that's to be full power now. Good. Well, looks like I don't have to buy a new tap, which is always good. I mean, I wasted, what did I waste? Like something like 5 hours on this. But wasted five hours and $5. I got two pieces I could use in the future for some other project, I guess. Okay, so looks like this is finally done. What I discovered was that there's a white piece underneath, and depending on which way it goes, you have an empty bit. There's a little bit that sticks out here, and if you put the white piece in one of two ways, the handle will either stick out this way and turn on, or the other way. So the handle was actually going that way before, but I don't really see what difference it's going to make. So let's see. I guess it's kind of similar to the way it was before. That's the hot side. This is the cold side. Oh well. The sink lives another day.